There's not much that's certain in 2020. Homemade bread baking and binge watching TV series maybe, but that's about it. But as it turns out, there is another thing that is certain. This year it's going to be a great one for new car releases. We're going to cover off some of the most expensive, shiny unobtainium in another video, but here we're going to run through the most exciting stuff that even some everyday people will be able to afford. Here's a rundown of all the new metal that, once we're allowed outside, we're really looking forward to driving this year. We'll start, as the alphabet tends to, with A, which here has a little 3 behind it. Audi's latest rival for the Mercedes A-Class will get completely new styling for 2020. Nah, only joking. It does look completely different on the inside though, where there's fancy tech like a big touchscreen and gorgeous digital dials. Thanks to a greater choice of mild and plug-in hybrid powertrains on offer, the next A3 should be the most efficient ever. But don't worry hot hatch fans, S3 and RS3 models are in the pipeline too. Over at BMW, 2020 will see a major launch of its next fully electric model. The iX3 is the brand's first electric SUV and it's based heavily on the combustion-powered X3. These pictures show the concept, but the one official image that we've seen shows that it'll basically look like this. In other words, like a regular X3, but with smoother kidney grills, smoothed out wheels, and smoother powertrain. Smooth. BMW is aiming for a range of over 250 miles between charges. And here's another EV, but at a size that makes much more sense for city-dwelling folk. The iconic Fiat 500 is thrust into the 2020s with a zero-emission powertrain, and its 117 brake horsepower and instant electric torque in a small car should make for lively performance around town. Based on the WLTP testing system, it's got a 200-mile range, far more than any other style-led city EVs from Mini or Honda. And look at that interior, isn't it just gorgeous? Ford will gallop into the electric SUV market with the Mustang Mach-E. The Blue Oval hopes its latest stallion will become the main challenger in the SUV class, jockeying for buyers' attention with the Tesla Model Y. Initial rear-wheel drive models should prance along nicely and feel stable through the turns, but it's the 458 brake horsepower GT model that promises to be flaming quick. Also out this year, and equally susceptible to wordplay, is the Honda Jazz. And while this video already has enough puns in it, what you really need to know is that just like the old one, the next Jazz is an MPV-based Super Mini with ingenious interior features. But unlike the old one, it's got soft friendly styling, a posh interior and hybrid-only engine lineup. At the more thrilling end of the Honda range, the refreshed Civic Type R should see one of our favourite hot hatches get even better, thanks to reduced unsprung mass and a range of suspension, braking and steering tweaks. If you thought it looked a bit too mad before, there's a new version with a smaller rear wing. If you didn't think it was mad enough, the limited edition version is more hardcore, more grippy and much more yellow. Hyundai will attempt to shake up the Super Mini sector with the new i20. We've covered the brand's latest small car in an earlier video, but in short, it's got sharper styling, more tech and better fuel efficiency than the one it replaces. What do you reckon? Will it have what it takes to beat the current Super Mini king, the Renault Clio? The Kia Sorento is a favourite among Auto Express readers, with it scooping the prestigious Driver Power Customer Satisfaction Survey in 2020. It'll be replaced by an all-new model this year, and it gets a big butch face inspired by the US market Telluride SUV. A range of hybrid powertrains will join the trusty 2.2 diesel that's carried over from the old one. The launch of the Land Rover Defender had what must have been one of the most hotly anticipated and longest drawn out reveals since, well, not that long ago really, when Toyota tormented us with the Supra. And like the Supra, the new Defender marks the rebirth of a motoring icon that hasn't gone down too well with some of the die-hard fans. But as we found out when the Defender shrugged off the most punishing drive through Namibia with ease, it's just as brilliant as off-road as the original. But in every other area it moves the game on an indescribable amount. It's packed with modern creature comforts, the engines are smooth and efficient, and this time there's even the novel idea of making the steering feel like it's actually connected to the front wheels. The next 12 months or so are set to be very busy for Mercedes. There's a replacement due for the GLA coming, plus its boxy big brother, the all-new GLB. The E-Class is on its way, complete with a heavy facelift and new interior tech, and the latest version of the GLE, so-called coupe, will also launch. But that's not all, because Mercedes is boosting its electric families at both ends of the scale. That new GLA will form the basis of a battery-driven EQA, while the V-Class van will form the basis of the EQV, with a range that should shame most other electric commercial vehicles currently on sale. Pulsar, the performance spin-off of Volvo, wowed us with the One last year. While that dramatic coupe used a plug-in hybrid powertrain with 601 brake horsepower, its next model is set to go fully electric. It's called the 2, proving that the brand's creative types are kept well away from the naming department, but we love the understated funk of that jacked up styling. With 402 brake horsepower on tap, this might become the ultimate sleeping machine too. That version will cost just under 50 grand, but cheaper, less powerful versions will come later. The Seat Leon has always been one of those underrated family hatchbacks, peeking out from the shadow of the default choice in the segment, the Volkswagen Golf. Like all its predecessors, this Leon is based on the same MQB platform as the Golf 2, which means that it'll be much the same to drive, but a little more interesting to look at and probably a bit cheaper too. And Seat's performance brand Cupra will cater for the hot hatch fans. The copper badge Leon will come with both plug-in hybrid powertrain and a 2-litre turbo petrol with 300 brake horsepower. If Sir or Madam would prefer an SUV, then the Formentor will become the brand's first standalone model that separates it from the rest of the Seat range. 2020 is proving to be the year of MQB, as we've seen already, with the new Golf, the new A3 and the new Leon. And Skoda is getting its take on sale too, with the new Skoda Octavia. Skoda seems to be heading ever classier with each new model it releases. The latest Octavia looks dignified, upmarket and understated in a completely unshouty way. Unless you go for the sporty VRS, that is. But even the performance model comes with a conscience now. Power comes from the same 1.4 litre turbocharged plug-in hybrid powertrain that Cupra will use in the Leon. Rally homologation specials are cool. It's a well-known fact. It's arguably even cooler when it involves taking one of the most sensible super minis on the market and transforming it into an absolute fire-breathing monster. And Toyota has done exactly that with the GR Yaris. Four-wheel drive, a 1.6 3-cylinder turbocharged engine producing an incredible 257 brake horsepower, and a chop-roof 3-door body style made exclusively to satisfy World Rally Championship rules are all present. And the price of all this rally-bred madness? Well, it's an entirely sensible $29,995. We can't wait. But Toyota hasn't forgotten about sensible stuff either. There's an all-new model in the funky shape of the Yaris Cross, plus a plug-in hybrid version of its big brother SUV, the RAV4. Volkswagen's 2020 will not only see the next generation of one of its icons, but it will also see the launch of what it hopes will become the next brand-defining car for decades to come. The Golf is getting the latest generation of the GTI treatment. The hot hatch version of the latest monobrowed Golf gets an uprated version of the last car's turbo 2-litre petrol engine, now making 242 brake horsepower and 370 Nm of torque. Once again, it sends drive to the front wheels, and it still has tartan seats inside, which is the most important thing, clearly. If you're after the GTI style but with fewer trips to the pump, VW is also set to release the 197 brake horsepower Golf GTI and the plug-in GTE models too. But arguably the most important car, certainly for VW and possibly in this entire list, is the new ID.3. This is an electric car which is the same size as a Golf on the outside, as big as a Passat on the inside, and will offer a range of up to 342 miles between charges. And lower spec models, which should manage just under 200 miles, will start from just £23,000. It might just be a game changer. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to the Auto Express channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to leave your comments below.